It was nice to see, the Browns back into a packed stadium. I haven't seen that in a while. We were down in Jacksonville, take on the Trevor Lawrence-led Jaguars, Urban Meyer's first game coaching. Obviously, it's preseason. We're not going to overhype one preseason game against – honestly, I think the Jags are going to suck like hard. So obviously, we don't want to oversell this stuff, but I do think there are some key takeaways from last night's game that kind of showed where we're at as a team. So I'll just kind of throw it up to you guys. What do you guys think about what we saw last night?
I mean, future franchise quarterback Kyle Owusu-Koramoah was just lighting it up last night.
I will say this. There are some Browns players last night that are not going to make this team that earn jobs on other teams.
Absolutely.
Kyle Owusu-Koramoah is going to be a backup quarterback somewhere probably, especially if he does it again.
Right.
He's going to play somewhere.
We've been saying that all offseason too, leading up to this, that we're going to cut guys that other teams are going to be watching to see who gets let go out of Cleveland, because we've got the depth right now. It's great. It's crazy, but it's
so much depth.
Yeah, and I mean, is it possible that if he looks as good as he did last night in their next two preseason games, that Case Keenum's on the block?
No. So our boy DF, he's a fan of the show, Patreon member. So I got to
remember
nice.
We're paying Case Keenum $10 million this year.
I get it.
And the next year. Just saying.
I don't care. He's too much of a luxury. This team is too good, too well rounded, where I'm not willing to just give up on the season if Baker gets hurt. And if Baker gets hurt and Laletta goes in, can we go to the Super Bowl? Probably not. If Baker gets hurt and Keenum steps in, I think Josh said it best before he can Jimmy Garoppolo us to a Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
He took the Vikings to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he's got that history and the chemistry with Stefanski. He gets it. He's kind of ingrained in this system. I mean, he's the ideal backup right now for Baker. And as far as the cap goes and what he's making this year, doesn't really matter because this team is set. You know, the roster's set. The cap is set. We're locked in. We're ready to roll. I don't think now's the time to even think about moving off of Case Keenum as the backup because, like you said, if anything, God forbid, should happen to our boy Baker, I feel okay Keenum coming in and managing this, and we'll be okay.
Yes, we could still win a lot of games if he has to step in and be the starter. As good as Laletta looked last night,
he's a third string for a reason.
Yeah. There's a lot more question marks if he has to come in and try to take you to the playoffs.
You might look good against third and fourth string. I don't know how well you'd look against, let's say a Kansas City starting defense.
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
Or Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, Justin, that jersey is sick.
I appreciate that, bro. It was just sitting in my mailbox, just whenever back in Ohio.
Some more stuff to take away from yesterday. One, the depth. I think I said this, that the team we started last night was basically all second stringers, and they would have beat any Browns team from 2010 to 2015. And they were second stringers on this team.
Yeah. It was, I don't know. It was just a different kind of experience watching that game last night.
So going into last night, I was kind of looking at a couple of different things. One, I was excited to see the rookies play, to see how they looked on the field, kind of gauging where they are at, going into this first preseason game. And then the defensive stuff was kind of, I know we didn't play any starters really on defense. There was a couple guys where, Jacob Phillips was out there a little bit, not a whole lot, but just seeing schematically what we were going to do. And our defense looked good.
Especially the first half, I think we saw more what Joe Woods wants to do with the starters is we brought a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
We did not sit back. I mean, last year was just prevent. And last night we were in full-out attack mode in the first half.
Yeah, and there were a couple instances where Joe Thomas doing the color last night commentary. He was, what did he say a couple of times? It was something along the lines of, okay, well in this situation it was second and long. Joe Woods in a normal situation with his guys, his starters on the field would have brought pressure, but he didn't, or something, because he just didn't have the personnel that he wanted in that situation. But they were even saying all throughout the game, in a normal game, look for this, look for that. This play probably wouldn't have unfolded this way or whatever. So
I really liked the scheme last night more than I liked our scheme in pretty much any game we played last year.
Well, and maybe you've said it all along too. Did he just suck last year? Did he just not have the right guys to execute his game plan? And, kind of with that commentary last night and saying, hey, look, in a regular game with, these guys on the field, he would have blitzed here. He would have brought pressure, but he didn't because he's got his third stringers out here. So maybe it is a personnel issue.
Yeah, but I get what they're saying, too, and at the same time, just blitz him. It's a freaking preseason game. Yeah. He's never going to get better at blitzing if you don't practice blitzing him. So send him.
Thank you for censoring yourself, at least on the public show.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, but seriously.
I just don't want to violate YouTube's community standards.
Yes.
Right.
But no, some other things that popped off the tape, the defensive line, I thought, considering there was no Miles, no Jadeveon Clowney, if those guys would have played, Trevor Lawrence might not have made it out of this game because they couldn't block Porter Gustin.
Yeah, Porter Gustin definitely showed up, in the very early stages of the game where he was getting pressure whenever he wanted to. Billings, he was out there for a little bit and played, which was nice to see since, he opted out of the 2020 season. But yeah, defensive line looked good. And we're not even talking, like you said, about our top guys being on the field.
Yeah.
So I think that if those guys are able to get pressure themselves, imagine what you're getting from Miles and Clowney.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Say we sacked Lawrence twice, and it was, I'm just looking through, Sheldon Day. Is that correct?
Yep, that's correct.
Sheldon Day and Porter Gustin.
Yep.
And we were pressuring him a lot. So if we can get pressure with our backups against their ones, that's good news for the Browns.
Trevor Lawrence did not look comfortable.
No.
It really on any dropback, I don't think. Maybe a couple here and there whenever he was like doing the quick screen passes and the bubble plays, but if he had to drop back and actually go through his reads down the field, he didn't look comfy back there.
No.
We made it tough.
So a couple more things on the defense I think we need to talk about. Obviously, first-round draft pick Newsome, I thought he looked good. There's the one play the guy got behind him when we were in zone coverage. We gave the quarterback a minute and a half to throw.
Yeah.
That's going to happen. And then even then, he still recovered, and it was a jump ball situation on the guy. I thought he played well.
When it wasn't just the guy, it was Marvin Jones.
That's
Jr.
what
right.
Yeah, no kidding.
He's an established veteran wide receiver.
Dragged the Detroit Lions wide receiver core.
For years.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably their number one receiver. I mean, I know there's a lot of probably DJ Chark fans out there. But Chenault. But I tell you what, I think Marvin Jones, they brought him in to lead the way for them.
Absolutely.
And he had that big tackle on third down where, if he doesn't put his shoulder into that guy, that he falls forward for a first down. So I thought Newsome played well. I thought Greedy played well, and it was good to just see Greedy playing in a football game. He gave up one first down, and then after that, he seemed to kind of settle in. I thought he played really well. And then obviously on the defensive side of the ball, we had to talk about JOK. He didn't start. He came in second quarter, and from that point on to the rest, he was the best player on the field.
Yes,
he was the leading tackler for the night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you talked about Greedy and Greg Newsome. They both played the first 18 defensive snaps to start the game. And then JOK, like you said, came in the second quarter and then really never left the field. He was second on the defense total snaps played with 47 and then played on 15 special team snaps.
I think he said he told him he wanted as many reps as they'd give him. Because, I mean, he was on the COVID list. This was kind of him making up for missing a lot of camp. Mm-hmm. And he showed out. The fact that he even knew the place.
So JOK had 7 solo tackles, 8 total, 1 sack, and 3 tackles for loss. I saw him in the backfield so much. I mean, whether it was on the quarterback or coming in to lay a hit on a running back. I mean, if a guy was getting kind of wrapped up around the ankles or something, the line, who was bringing him down? 28.
Yep.
I mean, I was so impressed with the way he played.
He ball hawked everything.
Yeah, and it's like he just plays like his hair's on fire and he doesn't care.
Yeah,
he's so fast.
Yes.
He truck stick that one guy.
Yes.
Freaking truck stick.
Yes, he did.
Yes.
So I think Stefanski said it well, when they talked to him about it, and he just said, he plays at a very high speed. He's twitchy, defeats blocks. That's just the kind of guy you're going to get with him. And the speed part of it is something that we've been missing, I feel like, for years in the middle of the field that could just see ball and go meet him before he's 10 yards downfield.
Yeah, he was very impressive. I'm looking forward to just seeing him continue to grow, continue to get reps, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play with the ones.
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Something on defense that we've just last year we talked about so much. It was a lot of you guys would get hit in the behind the line of scrimmage, but they wouldn't get wrapped up or tackled or brought to the ground. Then they'd end up running for a first down or more yards or whatever. He just has that nose for the football, and it looks like he can finish plays. He can finish through the tackle, get guys down, or at least hold them up long enough to get the support there.
Yeah. What are you guys thinking? Are you guys thinking we'll see ones in our next game? Because, normally it's like preseason game 3 and the typical years where we're playing 4 that you see a lot of the starters, at least for a series on each side of the ball. We're thinking that's game 2.
I'm thinking a quarter.
I don't know if they'll play a full quarter, but they need to play a couple drives at least, I would think, because if Tom Brady can play in the preseason, then Baker Mayfield can play at least a couple drives.
Well, and it's like what Brady had. I think he was like 1 of 2. So Nick Chubb needs to come in, maybe have 2 carries. Done. Just let him get his feet back in the rhythm of getting hit by an opposing team. Cool, we're done.
And we don't play a cupcake week 1. And I know in the NFL, it's just like one. Even if we lose, we're 0-1, which we're used to doing, and so it's not that big of a deal. But I would love to come out in that first week and be highly competitive. So I don't want to have to be shaking off the rust against the Chiefs. So we'll move real quick to the offensive side of the ball. I think there's two position battles we need to address. The first one's between DPJ and Higgins. I think at the start of that game, DPJ, he was the best player on the field. He looked like a man amongst boys at the start of the game.
He was the guy they went to immediately.
Yep. Wasn't
it first play?
Yeah. Good. And then I say that, and just when I was like, man, this is definitely DPJ's job to lose now, and then Higgins makes a big third down catch. Yep. Right. Higgins just gets open. He's not going to go away. He's just DPJ is just so physically gifted. If he puts it all together, holy crap.
Yeah, I think we're probably going to see a lot of both of them on the field.
I agree.
Not really at the same time unless there was some type of injury that happened, which we hope is not the case. Right. But I think that they're going to split times. I think that Donovan Peoples-Jones definitely has the higher ceiling out of the two, that he's got more room to grow, where Higgins is, you kind of know what you're getting with Higgins, and that's probably about it. He's not got where DPJ, we're talking about number 1 wide receiver potential.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Higgins, not Higgins. DPJ was 5 targets, 3 catches, 26 yards, but there was one down the sideline, and I think it was Keenum, kind of threw it. He made it like a 50-50 jump ball between him and the corner, and obviously the corner came in and broke it up. But if he'd have thrown it out further for just Peoples-Jones to come out and get it, I think he'd have hauled that in, and that was at least 25, 30-yard play right there.
Yeah,
that was so close to being completed.
So that position battle is still ongoing, but I definitely at the beginning of camp I thought it was more Higgins' job to lose, and now I think that's turned. I think it's DPJ is kind of the guy right now. And then the other one we needed to talk about was Demetric Felton and Dearness Johnson. And I think we can all conclude now that that's not really a position battle anymore.
That's the last time we're going to refer to those two in the sentence as position battle, because it's not.
No. I think Dearness Johnson's clearly the number 3 back. And then Felton's going to play wide receiver. All they talked about last night was how he was a slot receiver. They didn't even really mention him as a running back.
Yeah, he'll be one of those guys that on third down plays can line up in the backfield that you're going to be threatened by like the screen pass type of a thing, or he's going to get motioned out into the slot somewhere and get put on a linebacker. And if anything looks like last night, good luck, because the dude's got moves.
I said we were grooming him to be our next Jarvis.
It's kind of what it looked like. They targeted him 6 times last night. He caught 4 for 44 yards. He was running that slot role. Yep. That's what he did.
Yeah, and what's nice about it, like if we can make him be that, because we kind of talked about this last year with Kareem Hunt when we brought him in, we're going to use him as a wide receiver.
Kareem Hunt's a running back.
Right, I know. And what I'm saying is, though, what's nice about Felton is if we can get him the ball, he's definitely, and we saw it last night, he's got the shiftiness of a running back to just make the first guy miss. That he's not going to let just one guy take him down a majority of the time.
Now, so Felton, he was that 6th round pick. He's 5'9", 189. But did you guys think he looked bigger than that? Like
I thought he looked big.
I thought he looked more physically imposing on the field than just a little scat back.
Well, here's the thing: 5'9", 189. He's almost 200 pounds at 5'9".
That's
5'9"
correct.
is not very tall.
Yeah. little taller than me.
Yeah, and
Not very tall.
and 189. I mean, so he's built. I mean, he's put together. That's a grown man.
Yeah. So that'd be like, me plus
he's not skipping
a
meals.
couple inches and 40 pounds. That's
of muscle.
and muscle. Exactly. Yeah.
So not snacks.
No,
not snacks.
So he's not hanging out in the conference room over here.
Yeah.
Eating pretzels.
Yeah. So that was just kind of our takeaways from last night's game. Obviously, you can't put too much stock into how good things win and the score. I think you have to kind of break it down and look more like player by player, position by position. And I do think there's a lot of – I just thought we looked super well coached, super disciplined, basically what we've come to expect from Stefanski-led Browns team.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice, too, that it was just a very Kevin Stefanski methodical kind of game plan? Even if I know he said he was going to hand over like play calling and stuff and duties to other guys, it still felt like a Kevin game, like low penalties. I think there was 3 penalties. And then as far as just controlling the game and just that last drive, what was it? 20 plays?
Yeah.
10 minutes of game.
Play drive.
I mean, it was just like unbelievable. Like, wow.
Yep.
So real quick, last 2 things I'll just throw out there. Richard LeCount.
Yeah,
he
did
played well.
not look bad.
No.
Did not look bad. He looked like the guy that they said this guy was actually a higher talent than 5th round. So
Yeah, he played well.
and then I'll just say our backups on the offensive line, cool. I mean, because we're going to have injuries on the O-line, whether it's somebody's got to miss a quarter, 3 plays, or 3 weeks, whatever it is. We've got guys who can fill in, and I feel pretty comfortable with their competency.
Yeah, it was nice to see Hubbard back out there, coming back from injury.
Our draft pick was out there, the Hudson.
James Hudson.
The 5 guys we started last night is our second string line probably better than some of the 5 starting lines in the league.
Yeah, well, and they take James Hudson, rookie. He hasn't been an offensive lineman for very long. He used to be a defensive tackle. They switched him in college, all that story. And he's out there starting at left tackle against another NFL team's starters in his first game action ever. So good for him. Good for him. He held his own.
2 negative things I wanted to say. We didn't run the ball that well. Part of that's that John Kelly or whatever is not going to be on the team.
No.
2, we didn't have the starting line. And the second thing I'm going to throw it as a red flag. I thought red zone offense was a little bit shaky. We got into the red zone a couple times and had to settle for field goals. Obviously, it's our 2s against 1s, so that's going to play into that. But it would have been nice to see us punch it in when we were in the red zone.
One thing to keep in mind, though, is our starting tight end was our 4th string tight end, and he got hurt early. So we ran the whole game with our 5th string tight end. You know what I mean? So, our top 3 guys weren't even in there. And that's those guys. I mean, Harrison Bryant last year was a red zone threat.
Yeah. So just little things. Hopefully in this game we get into the red zone, we punch it in.
Yep.
But all right. So that kind of wraps up our analysis of the pregame.
I'm sorry, but can we just talk about kickers real fast?
Oh, go ahead.
Wow, what do you guys think? I mean, McLaughlin or Parkey?
McLaughlin.
When Parkey doinked that one in, I told you, I said, I am not getting the warm and fuzzies right now.
I've seen that before.
Yeah.
Chicago's having nightmares.
No, to me, Cody Parkey, even though statistically he was okay last year, there's just no faith for me. There's no trust. And if you look at the numbers out of camp, they always come out and say what the kickers did, and they almost always each miss one.
Yeah.
But McLaughlin seems to always make the long one. And Cody Parkey's one miss is the one that was from 45.
Right. And if somebody's going 1 of 5 for the day, it's Parkey.
Yes.
Yeah.
McLaughlin hasn't had the bad day yet.
Yeah.
Right.
What about the kickoff that he kicked it off and it
That's
landed
another
at what?
thing.
The 50-yard line? I mean,
It looked like a freshman football game.
yeah. It's just kind of disappointing, especially for a pro player. He's a starter. He started for us last year. He's our guy.
I'm not a Cody Parkey fan at all.
Yeah, no,
I feel bad
agree.
for the guy because he kicks better than I can, but
yeah, but you're not getting paid.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro.
No one's paying you to kick.
No.
And I don't know. I mean, there hasn't been a whole lot of talk about that position, from Stefanski. Maybe we'll find out in the next 2 preseason games, but I hope it's just not one of those things where it's like Parkey's a veteran, he's the one we're keeping type of.
I don't know if they do that because we saw that with Jamie Gillian. It kind of just,
true.
I don't think they're afraid to make those kind of decisions. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong.
McLaughlin was the first guy to come out to kick.
Yep.
And he made his field goal. And then Parkey kicked the next 2. He made the first one from 35 or something, whatever it was. And
His
then
distance.
The 48-yarder was the one he kind of doinked in. by the skin of his whatever. And then McLaughlin had the 2 extra points, though. So the fact that they didn't split the extra points between the 2 kickers made me think Stefanski might be leaning toward McLaughlin and just see, can you consecutively make these extra points?
Yeah.
I hope so.
I know, me too.
I don't know.
Because it's, I have more, at least McLaughlin hasn't let me down yet. So
yep, we don't have those scars.
It's early.
It's
early, man. Until last night, we hadn't seen anything.
Right.
So
we thought Seibert was okay.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out either.